I will say press Simo, that is as quickly as possible. I will first recognize the supreme being, the Demiurge, who dwells in heaven in full and utter divinity. That is the big man up there. So dear ladies and gentlemen, countrymen and women, we all know, and I want to inform the president, the current president of the country, that we are debilitating, lobotomizing, and ignominious political mwahaha, political yuho, political higodi-pigodi, political topsy-davidam. And I want to inform Mr. President, we are tired of the urbanism, mendaciro consequences, and the prestige. We no longer have democracy in the country. We have democradura, dicta blanda, patula democratica. And if we don't stand now to stop that ruckus, if we don't stand now to stop that turmoil, we shall be worth the blame. It will lead to an act of rascality in the whole country. It will amount to an Aramuskaram act of political gambadonism. So dear ladies and gentlemen, I have come to address you, ladies and gentlemen of this country, as I pursue the highest office in this country. I am the right man fit for purpose. So dear ladies and gentlemen, true much has been done, but there is much required to do in this country to improve the conditions of our people. There is need to improve and to remove our people and our population from objective poverty. President Museveni has contributed a lot, true, but there is need to do more, which he cannot do. Failure to end poverty is one of President Museveni's government big shortcomings. But he cannot solve this problem, which the kind of corruption in this country, President Museveni can no longer to remove corruption in this country. And the attitude our people have towards business. In fact, nobody can remove poverty in our country. So dear ladies and gentlemen, as I address you today, thousands are unemployed in this country. The unemployed people roaming at the streets of Kampala and the streets of different cities in Uganda. So dear ladies and gentlemen, the growing population until corresponding to the increasing business in this country is a problem. But Uganda biggest problem is poverty, corruption, poor service delivery, mendaciro questions and the prestige. So dear ladies and gentlemen, however, this disaster is primary in the high growing population, corruption, failure to enter into entrepreneurial class, to compete internationally, ignorance and poor mindset and attitude in our people. So, true President Museveni abandoned the system of socialist government in 1987, an attempt to create an independent economy as desired by many African countries could not be achieved. Capitalist economies are intertwined, though to the desired disadvantage of the poor. The West attempt to get out of, whoever attempts to get out of such a disaster is being held by the IMF, World Bank. You cannot get out of it until your policies correspond with theirs. So dear ladies and gentlemen, this has led to the increasing number of people joining the poor in the country. These are people who cannot feed their families, people who cannot afford school fees for their children, people who are increasingly stay in slums with poor sanitation, people who do not have future in their own country. I'm calling upon all you to join me in new thinking to transform this country. The NRM policies have achieved a great deal, but have not uplifted the living standards of our people, of the majority of people in this country, due to failure of their implementation. There is a need for a balanced approach for the development of this country. This can only be achieved through free market economies alongside government intervention in business. For the current political system has become sociotropic, stagnant, and unresponsive to the needs of our people. Thus, there is a need to invigorate it. With the younger people, with the collective effort, we shall. And here we are the solution. We are going to steer it up. Dear ladies and gentlemen, ordinary Ugandans unable to compete with foreigners in their own country is a tragedy. Thus, a need to safeguard through public enterprises. Hence, a policy of mixed economic system. We need to invest every day in our education. The enemies of our people are those who keep them in ignorance. Thomas Sankara quoted. We need to invest more in health care transport infrastructure, education should be some of our priorities. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I have a 5 points manifesto. I will start with corruption. I promise you, dear ladies and gentlemen, countrymen and women, to fight corruption. That is number 1 on my manifesto. Education and health, security, national unity and patriotism. That is number 4. Environmental conservation and sustainable development. That's number 5. Those are the 5 points manifesto that I'm going to take this journey to champion Uganda into a great country. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I have 5 pillars I'm going to grow this country. I'm going to grow this country on education, agriculture, trade, transport and tourism. Those are the pillars I'm going to stand on to transform this country. Last but not least, but most importantly, dear ladies and gentlemen, to the youth, I have no money to offer, but I have ideas to transform. As I have said, joining me, it would be an exciting journey to transform this country. For the younger people, our time is now. We need a good education system that will give us jobs. We should stop expecting our jobs outside the country. For the younger people, we need to stand now. If we don't stand now, we shall be worth the blame. We need universities and institutions that will give us relevant skills to compete globally. We need a financial system that will make it easier for us to find finance to start our small businesses. We need an infrastructure that will support our small businesses. We need a legal framework that will protect us from foreign competition. We need to actively participate in the government in all levels to transform our people from the politics of identity and individualism to the politics of interest and ideology. To President Museveni, I have only one request from you, Mr. President of the country. It is to return term limit in our constitution. Because you may have answered the security question, you may have answered the stability in the economy, you may have answered the security and our boundaries, but if you don't answer the democratic and political question, we are going to lose everything you have managed to build for years in just minutes, hours, days after your departure. Dear ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, because concluding I must, I have the idea and the vision to transform this country in these areas of .com. I am not the best and I don't claim to be, but I am the one you have with the right ideology to transform this country. So I call upon the youth to rally behind me, to stand behind me to transform this country. For that matter, therefore, I declare my candidature to run for the presidency of the country. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I had a lot of inconsistencies, the hula baru, the higaga, the krinkum from TikTok, but I want to harmonious the squatting in simpler terms on the denizens, the populi, and the homo sapiens, the scarrawings, the facts, that I am very serious, and I'm mentioning this with the perfect mendacity and absolute barrick why I have come to stay. I am the right person who is going to transform this country. We the youth, we are the biggest percentage in this country, and if we raise our voice, we are going to transform. Just as President Museveni was the demagogic orator of his generation, was the siding pot of the century, but now he is a prisoner of age. So I employ the youth, I deploy all to come and rally behind me. We are not going to use satire and bigotry, but we are going to speak and we are going to part ways from President Museveni on matters of ideology. So we have not come to abuse anyone. We have not come to dehumanize anyone. We have not come to abuse anyone, but we have come to bring ideology on the table to transform our country. Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen. I sign out.